Alex and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is a place where I talk about what I've been knitting and sewing each month, and yeah, it's been a little while since I filmed a video, but I finished the sweater that I was knitting the last time I spoke to you, so I thought I'd jump on and yeah, give you an update and show you my finished sweater and the other projects that I've got at the moment. So yeah, the first thing to chat about is my deep moss pot sweater, which is a pattern by Carrie Helene Rain for the Fibre Company, and it's knit in the Fibre Company Law yarn. So I'll stand up so you can see. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I think the fit is exactly what I wanted. It's a really nice, not oversized, but it's a nice loose fit. Like, I think it drapes really well. It doesn't have any shaping in the body. It was just knit straight from the yoke, but it just hangs and drapes so nicely. I'm so pleased with how this turned out. And I actually knit it completely to the pattern instructions. The only sort of slight difference was my gauge was a little bit different to that called for in the pattern, but I really like the gauge that I got, so I carried on and I just knit the smaller size. So I'll pop in the show notes all the information like about the yarn and the pattern and any modifications I've made, so you can see that clearly. But yeah, basically I just knit a smaller size to get this lovely fit, and it only took me 3 skeins of yarn, which was amazing. I had a skein left over, so yeah, it was really quite an economical knit as well. But I'm just so happy. I hope you like it too. I don't know how long it took me. It feels like I've been working it a long time. I actually got the yarn when I went up to see the Fibre Company back, probably was maybe February time. I do a little bit of work for the Fibre Company, and yeah, they had a team meetup, so while I was there I managed to get this yarn from the warehouse, and the colourway is called Heaven, which is lovely. All of the colours in the Law range, they all have lovely names, yeah, and this is the Heaven. And yeah, it feels really nice. I haven't got anything on under this, and it's comfortable on my skin. Somebody had asked, was it a scratchy yarn, or because it is 100% lamb's wool, so they were sort of saying what kind of a feel is it, and that is like the hardest question to answer, I think, because everybody's different. Everybody's skin and tolerance is totally different, and I also think your tastes change as well. This I think maybe when I first started knitting, or even when I didn't knit, the kind of jumpers that I pick up in stores, I think I really sort of gravitated towards like very soft yarns, and it's like, I don't think soft isn't the right word. Like, when I think of soft, I think of like merinos and those really like kind of very smooth yarns, whereas this, it's like a woolly, it feels like a real kind of sort of yarn that's going to last, it's going to wear really well. But I don't feel it, it doesn't irritate my skin. I can feel it, you can feel it on your skin, and I can understand that some people might have a prickle, but that's sort of the thing. It's like everybody's different. I feel like you need to try lots of different yarns and see how you feel, because they just have different properties. Because this, it hangs so nicely. I have worn this, I can't tell you how much I've worn it. I've hardly taken it off since I knit it, and that was a few weeks ago now. It's had quite a lot of wear. It's the sort of thing that I pull on sort of in the mornings or in the evenings when it's been cooler, and now the temperature's really changed, so it's the kind of thing that I can wear all day, and it still looks like the day I blocked it. It wears so well. It doesn't have can't see any real sort of like pilling or wear yet. It's a great yarn for that, whereas something that's more like a merino yarn, that probably would have started to have a few pills and things, which is fine. That's the nature of it, and you kind of care for things in a different way. I just have to make sure I debobble my knits that are a bit softer. But yeah, as you can see, I'm really happy with this one. And you're going to think I'm crazy, but it's the next project I've got to show you, because as soon as I cast that off, I cast on another, and this is in one of my autumn bags, which I think these will be available in the shop. I sent these out for pre-order to all the people that were on my mailing list, and I've fulfilled all the pre-orders now, so I've got enough fabric to make a few more for the shop. I'll be printing this fabric again later. This is a Friday when I'm filming, so it'll be next week I'm going to print some more, but the bags that I have got ready, I'm going to pop those in the shop when this video goes live, so you can have a look at those if you like. But back to knitting. Yeah, I've cast on the exact same pattern. I'm knitting the same gauge, but I'm doing it in the stable colourway, which it's another colourway in Law, and I think this is it's just the exact project for the right time. And I felt like as soon as I'd finished knitting this sweater, I was kind of missing that hole. I wasn't sure what I wanted to cast on next, and it's been a really, really busy time, and I felt that actually what I wanted was this exact sweater that I know that I'm going to wear loads in a different colourway. So this is a much more classic, very neutral colourway that I think I'll get loads of wear out, and it's just a different look. Like, I know that there's times that I maybe wouldn't want to wear a turquoise jumper. I think I'd gravitate to something a bit more neutral. So I think this would get loads of wear, and it was just such an enjoyable pattern. The yoke is really, really simple. It's a really simple, it's a 4-row repeat to get the rows, and can't think how many I've done so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 repeats so far. But yeah, I just wanted a pattern that I knew I could sit down at the end of the day, and it's been a busy, long day, and I knew that at the end of the knitting process I'd have a garment that fit me how I wanted. I wasn't going to have to guess, I wasn't going to have to try things on, see, even just when you're knitting things like the sleeves, I always like keep stopping and trying on so that I get the perfect length that I want. It's the kind of thing that I've taken notes, I can just follow exactly what the pattern says, and I'm going to enjoy that knitting time and have something that really wearable at the end of it. Whereas I haven't got the brain space at the moment to do something that took any more brain power than that. So yeah, you might think it's crazy to just cast on the same thing again so soon after knitting something, but I think it's kind of testament to how much I like this sweater, how sort of wearable it is, and that it's really fit well into my wardrobe. I really, really get a lot of joy of wearing this. It feels great, it fits nicely, I haven't had any sort of problems with it at all. So yeah, that's what I felt like doing. So that's what I've done, cast on another one. And yeah, and basically that's it really for the knitting. I haven't done any sewing this month. This is why I've been quiet on YouTube. I haven't been posting many videos, just because I haven't been making a lot of things sort of personally. I feel like all my creative time's been going into work things. But one of the things I did get done was having a bit of an organisation. And actually, I'll show you, I've got my knitting basket here. So this is basically the basket that lives in my front room. So I have a small 1-bedroom flat where I live with my partner Theo, and I don't have loads of room for projects and yarn and stuff. And I want it to kind of look nice. So have this basket in the front room, and it serves the purpose perfectly for me. So what I did was, I've been having a bit of an organise because this basket was starting to overflow, which doesn't look good. So I went through and I frogged projects that I knew I wasn't going to. I was quite ruthless. If it had been sitting in there for a long time and I didn't have any desire to work on it right now, I thought, okay, this is the time to frog it, get those needles back. And actually, yeah, that's one of the things you can tell in my needle case. Right now it's looking so full of needles, and I think it's because I reclaimed lots that had been hiding in project bags, sitting in projects. So it's really satisfying to have all my needles when I want them. I'm not having to take them out of other projects when I need them, because that was something I'd do. I'd kind of find something that had the exact needle and it'd be an old project that I wasn't working on, and I'd end up taking them out of that and swapping them around, which was a bit of a pain. So I've had an organise, and I'm going to show you exactly what I have. So these are all of the projects I have going. So I'm not really counting them. That's why I said that was it for knitting, because I'm not really counting them because they weren't something I was like actively working on since I've spoken to you. I think the only thing I worked on was these jumpers, and which bag's it in? The other thing, actually this probably stopped my knitting for a while. I don't know where I was at when I spoke to you last, but this project is in timeout because actually it's inside out. It's my Rifty that is patterned by Jacqueline C. Slack, which I'm sure you've seen before because it's everywhere and I've knit it before, so if you've been watching this channel. and it's basically, I knit the body, and this is going to be a really easy fix, but can you see this is longer, and I knit the whole right side at the back from the V-neck instructions. So in the pattern you have the boat neck and the V-neck, and for some reason I did the front fine, did a V-neck, I did this left side in the boat neck as I was supposed to, and then I did the whole of this side knitted to the V-neck instructions. And looking at it now, it seems silly that I've let it sit for so long, when really all I need to do is rip back this portion. Just need to rip back probably from this sleeve, I think it needs to come right back to where the sleeve was, and do that again. But it was one of these things that was so disheartening. I think I was really powering through, and I knit loads in a day, got to the end, thought, right, I've finished. All you need to do is you do a few rounds on the sleeves. It has very small sleeve, so basically I was finished, and I realised that I'd messed up. And if I'd actually held it up before I did the 3 needle bind off, I think it would have been alright, I'd have ripped back. But I think it was just the fact that I'd done this 3 needle bind off, cut the yarn, and then realised my mistake. I actually put it on and couldn't work out why it was sitting funny until I realised I must have been looking at the V-neck instructions. So yeah, that was disappointing. So I guess that I suppose there is quite a lot of knitting, so I don't know how much I'd done on this, or if I've even shown you, to be honest. But this, this was a hipster shawl that I knit, and I reclaimed the yarn, so that was one of the things. It was a shawl that I wasn't wearing a lot, and although I liked it, it wasn't something that I grabbed for, because the Luma yarn, it's a blend that has linen and cotton in it. It's very soft, it's still got like some stretch to it, it's very comfortable yarn to knit with, which I love, but obviously because it's got that kind of linen content, it's something that's it's nice for kind of like warmer weather as well. But the hipster shawl is a huge shawl, so it was the kind of thing that I'd knit this very kind of summery shawl. It was white, and it's a lovely shawl, and it was in this light yarn, but it wasn't something I grabbed for when it was warmer, because it was such a big shawl. It was kind of a shawl that I would want to wear when it's more cozy, kind of winter time. But because of the content, it's not it's soft and warm. It's actually a really like transitional. It's like very good for spring, very good for autumn, because it does have warmth. It's very soft, so it has that coziness, but it's not the same as like a really, really woolly wool that you'd maybe have for a shawl. So all that to say, I wasn't really grabbing for it, and I thought, I know, it's got perfect amount of yarn to do Rift. So I did this with the intention that I would wear it with a skirt that I've shown before in one of my videos that I did with a sort of leopard print material. I thought that would be a great kind of handmade outfit. But yeah, so since I spoke to you, all I did was I've worked on this and my sweaters. But yeah, showing you that now, it's made me think, right, I really need to, maybe over the weekend, I'll tackle that and have a go at, saving my poor Rifty and giving it another go. So yeah, so I've worked on that, and then these other projects, these are the only things I've got left. So let's see what's in these bags. I've got most of my projects, yeah, they're all in these kind of bags. From my shop. If you're new here, I screen print and design all the fabric for my bags, and then I sew project bags and accessories for knitters. So the first thing, let's see in here, I've got 2 pairs of socks. This one, I've got 1 sock finished already, and this is Feathering the Nest by Danielle George of Little Bobbins Knits, and I've got little toes started on that. And I'm using the Wool Balm in, this is the luxury sock, I think is the base. It's their merino cashmere nylon, and this is the strawberries and lavender colourway. So yeah, so I'll have to do some more work on that. Happy to have this project in my basket. And the other pair of socks that's in here That's in one of my little Spring Bees cozies. I've retired the Spring Bees for the season, and those bags will be replaced with my Autumn Blooms. So I've got needle cozies and sock sacks with the autumn print now. But yeah, these DPN cozies are really handy. Let's see, there we go. And this is a sock called the Fairy Maiden Socks by Olivia of This Handmade Life. And I'm knitting these in the Wool Barn. This is the natural sock base, and it's a one-of-a-kind colourway that she did, a pink one, which I love this. These caves are going to be lovely. You can see I've only got a little bit. Haven't got very far with those at all. Just haven't felt like working on socks. Just hasn't really been something that I've grabbed for. But those were definitely something that I wanted to finish, so those got to stay in the knitting basket. So I've got those in there. Let's see what else we got in here. I've got another, this must be a sock because I've got another bag, another sock bag. And oh yeah, these are really ongoing project. I had these for years, and so I've got one sock finished. Got one that's, I think it looks like I've just started the heel actually on this one, and it's Mondim. I love this label. They've got really cool yarn, and my friend gave me this yarn. It's a special yarn, and it's one of those projects that I purposely don't work on these unless I'm needing a project that I'm out and about, because it's so mindless. It's just stockinette, and don't have to think about the pattern, and I can just work on these and pick them up whenever. So it's the kind of thing, if I need a last minute project and I don't know, say I was going to be on a train for an hour, this is the project that I grab for out my basket. So I'm not in any rush to finish them. It's not something I'll work on at home, but it's really nice to have that kind of travel project that I can reach for anytime. So that's in there. And okay, so we've got those two. I've shown you my Rift, and I think this is the last bag. So yeah, you can see I haven't got very many projects. And this is a really old project. I don't even know how long I've had these. And this is the only one that I did keep this, didn't frog these, but for whatever reason, I don't know why, I'm not crazy about these socks. Not sure. It seems silly though, because I basically need to do the cuff, I think, on this one, and then I could knit another. It's not a self, oh, got some fluff on there. There we go. Don't want to see the fluffy bits. But yeah, basically I'm striping these and doing contrast heel and toe myself. It's not a self-striping yarn. It's, I bought this, who was it? I'm almost certain it's Uncommon Thread. And I didn't frog these, even though I'm not crazy. This is coming up a little bit red on the camera. It's definitely more of like a raspberry leaning towards purple, this one. But I've got so much yarn, I was really tempted to like just even start 2 different socks. I wasn't really sure, not 100% sure. I mean, it seems silly because I could knit another sock and do the cuff on this one. So this is a little bit undecided, but it was a project that I didn't feel strongly enough that I wasn't going to work on, that I frogged it. This was something that I kept, but I thought either I could knit 2 different socks. So I think these must be 100 grams each, so I've got loads of yarn here. Knit something different or complete these. So that's the only other thing that I've got in my basket. So those are the projects that I've got. Haven't done any sewing this month, but I have got some fabric that I ordered, and I'm going to make a t-shirt. So I've got some nice kind of stripy fabric. It's a white base with like a black stripe. Got that coming. I've sewn some masks, but that's not very interesting. But I think those are the only projects I've got. So my knitting basket's looking much more organised now. If you ever want me to go into a bit more detail about how I organise my things, I could do that. Let me know, leave me a comment below. So then underneath all the bags sit on the top, and then in the basket I have all my yarn in plastic bags like this, which I'm not a fan of plastic particularly, but this is the one time when it's this is what the plastic's purpose is for, I think. I mean, there's lots of things that we have made of plastic that they don't need to be plastic and don't like single use, but this is the time when it makes sense for me to use plastic, because this is for moth protection, keeps everything dry and clean, and I feel safe having it in here. And yeah, so basically keep all my yarn, I do it by colour order, keep my yarn in the bottom, and the only other thing I have in the basket, apart from my needles, which I showed you, is I've got a bag as well that I keep all the swatches that I work on. So I've got a whole basket full of all my swatches that I've worked on. Don't know, there's all sorts in there, but you can see some of them have got labels on where I've put these little... Need to get more organised actually, and make sure that I label all of these. Some lovely things in here. But yeah, so then I have a basket, I have a bag full of my swatches, and it all lives in that basket. The only other place that I have some yarn, you've probably seen on my Instagram before, I've shown, I've got two, actually you can see one here, I've got one basket here, and another basket has like a little handle, and I tend to keep like some nice skeins of yarn out there. I just find it inspiring to have those kind of things around, or if I've got some new yarn or yarn that I'm like pulling out for a project, kind of keep it in those. Don't always have everything in the main like stash basket. So I hope you found that interesting. I know it's a little bit different today, talking you through basically like my organisation and how I've streamlined my stash. It felt really good to get rid of some of those old projects that have been hanging around in the bottom of that basket for a long time. And yeah, just feel a bit like got a control over everything I've got. I know what projects I have. They're all projects that I want to work on, that I want to finish. As soon as I feel like picking up a pair of socks, I know one of those will definitely be something that I want to work on. So yeah, so that's all for today. And as I said before, I will put everything in the show notes, all the yarns and the patterns that I've mentioned. And if you want to get the show notes to your email, that's something else that I do. Lots of you like that. I basically, every time I put up one of these videos, if you subscribe to the show notes email, you get an email anytime a video is uploaded, and I put all the show notes, so you get all the details of everything that I'm talking about straight in your email. And yeah, it's a really handy way if you like sort of clicking through to see what patterns or yarns I've used, that kind of thing. So yeah, sign up to that if you want to get that to your email. And I'll pop those bags, the autumn bags, into the shop, so if you want to have a look at those as well, they'll be in the shop today. And yeah, that's everything. It was really nice to catch up with you today, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.